Hey everyone, this is Mike,
Hey, and this is Josh.
and we are real dead.
Yes, we are. And tonight, we're doing an all time classic, in my opinion. I mean, a classic. And it's 1981's American Werewolf in London, Mike.
Yeah,
Now, so how old were you in 1981 when this movie
I
came
was
out?
10.
Okay, I wasn't born. I hadn't been. I wouldn't be born for 2 more years after this. But when did you have memories of seeing this movie, Mike?
Man, I remember, and I don't think I watched it originally. It first came out at the theaters, but I may have saw it on after it had been out for a while. I remember my mother, I think again, took me once again. I hope she doesn't get the the horrible mother card because there is some nudity and some stuff going on in this movie, little porn stuff. But she was always the type, cover your eyes, cover your eyes, cover your eyes. So I think I saw it in the movie theater with her. If I'm wrong, I saw it in the living room with her. So, but either way, I saw it with my mother, and I was 10 years old. So that's pretty young to see this, and maybe I need to go back and ask my mother, hey, when did we see that? But I do remember seeing it because back during that time period, David Naughton was on commercials all the time for Dr. Pepper, and then
And
I
who does
couldn't
he
believe
play?
the fact, huh?
And who does David Naughton play?
He plays David Kessler.
I drink Dr. Pepper and I'm proud. I used to be alone in a crowd, but now you look around these days, there seems to be a Dr. Pepper craze. I'm a pepper, he's a pepper, she's a pepper, we're a pepper, wouldn't you like to be a pepper too? I'm a pepper, he's a pepper, she's a pepper, if you drink Dr. Pepper, you're a pepper too.
He's the main character, but he was on TV all the time with these Dr. Pepper commercials prior to doing this movie. So, be a pepper, drink Dr. Pepper, all those old time school. I may put that in this video somewhere just so people can reflect.
I don't know anything about that, Mike. That's before my time. But so this movie is rated R. I mean, and to be fair, this movie isn't a straight horror movie. It's a horror dark comedy, right, Mike?
Yeah, I forgot how much it did lean on the comedy on this movie. To me, it was more comedy and horror. Now, don't get me wrong, the stuff you saw that was horror related was pretty horrific, but
yeah,
it's probably a 60-40 split, 60 horror, 40 comedy, in my opinion. I don't know.
Yeah, and also, I mean, I remember seeing this for the first time probably on TV, like AMC or, USA Network or something that I always watched as a kid. And it was probably on there, and I was like, whoa, because I was really into werewolves as a kid. So I love this. I think it's great. And the critics and the fans think it's great too, don't they, Mike?
Yeah, let me share real quick, if that's all right. And I can kind of give everybody a synopsis real quick as well. But it says right here, let me see if I can pull it forward here. David and Jack, two American college students, are backpacking through Britain when a large wolf attacks them. David survives with a bite, but Jack is brutally killed. As David heals in the hospital, he's plagued by violent nightmares of his mutilated friend, who warns David that he is becoming a werewolf. When David discovers the horrible truth, he contemplates committing suicide before the next full moon causes him to transfer from man to murderous beast. And also, while we're at this, and I mean, also show you real quick, it was David Naughton, Jenny Agutter. She played the nurse. You had basically Nurse Alex Price, David Kessler, Jack Goodman, and Dr. Hirsch, and that was played by John Woodvine. This movie does take place in England, so that was pretty cool.
Yep.
And then you go up here a little bit more. Look at that! Wow, bam.
Yep.
An 85 and an 89. I mean, 89 from the critics, 85 from the audience, basically telling you it may be, if not, I don't know that there's a better werewolf movie out there, Josh. I mean, is there one to you?
I don't know. I mean, I would be interested to see what The Howling is, because I know that one's pretty esteemed. But yeah, I don't know if there's any ones better than that. An 89 for critics and an 85 for fans. I mean,
That's very, very high.
I
For
am
any
a-
horror
I'm-
movie, that's extremely high. But
I'm more on the side of the critics, Mike, in my opinion. So
it's a pretty darn good one, Josh.
Yeah,
I mean, it's going to
banger.
get a high score from me as well.
yeah. So let's talk about some of the good things about this movie. Actually, I'd rather start with the bad things because there's like none, in my opinion, hardly. So Mike mentioned this to me before I watched the movie again, and I did notice it, and it was bothering me. That the blood in this movie is super red, like cherry red, like a bright cherry red, and it is off-putting a little bit, in my opinion. I don't know. I can't remember back then what blood in other movies look like, but there is a lot of blood in this movie. A lot. Probably more than your average horror movie back then. I don't know if that's true or not, but I would say, because I'm just trying to think, like Friday the 13th and some of those, I don't remember being this kinds of blood like that. You know what I mean?
I wonder if, me and my wife was thinking about it last night because my wife's a nurse. And when we first saw it, I was like, that don't even look realistic. It's so red. But then I started thinking about after the movie was that, and maybe I need to research it more behind the scenes, was only that bright red whenever it was a dream sequence or it's like a dream to them. I don't know.
Right. Well, I want to go with this other thing. So in the beginning, I like how this leads into the only other bad point that I have about this movie, bad thing. But David and Jack are backpack through England, and it's cold out and stuff. And it's really cool, like they're just walking through like these really cool like hills and little trails and stuff.
Stay out of the moors. Stay out of the moors.
The moors is what they call them. And they ended up coming to this place called the Slaughtered Lamb, which has a very ominous sign where it basically has a wolf's head on like a spear or like a pitchfork or something, and it's called the Slaughtered Lamb. And so they go in here and stuff, but like all these guys are really weird in there, like the guys in the bar, they're like basically something's going on, and then they let the guys leave. And then these guys come after David and Jack get attacked by a werewolf, which in my opinion that scene is tense because they're like you can't see it, it's dark, it's a little foggy, it's it's creepy.
They're joking back and forth, and it's kind of a funny. We were laughing during the joke. They were joking about it surrounding them, and the guy said, stay away. It's a moonlight. Stay on the path. Don't go in the moors. And we're doing everything wrong. Let's get back to the slaughtered lamb. And that howling that wolf was doing is kind of creepy. I can imagine a dark night, cool with a full moon out in the middle of the country, and you're being scared to death. But they start running, and as you said, the wolf finally comes and attacks Jack.
Yep.
And it's just laying into him, blood going everywhere.
It's a jump scare. It's a jump scare too because it attacks him out of nowhere.
Yeah, he's reaching down to give his buddy a hand to get up, and then the wolf comes and jumps, basically takes his arm off, didn't he, or something?
Yeah.
All of a sudden you see the arm laying on the ground, but and then he runs off, and then luckily he's the good friend. Instead of keeping running, he turned around and came back to try to help his friend. His friend was just destroyed, man. Great special effects on that too.
Yeah, tore up. And then here comes these guys at the bar. They shoot the werewolf, kill it. It's not like Tales of Old. It does not need silver bullets to die. Basically, it can be killed like any other animal or whatever. Right. But my question is, if they killed this animal so easily, or the werewolf, why didn't they do this before? Why are they stuck in this place scared? They were armed with shotguns. Maybe because it was easy to kill it because it was distracted attacking David. Somebody else. What I mean? Maybe that's what it was. Or maybe it's like a lure. Because in the bar, we didn't say they have a pentagram in the bar on the wall. And that's supposed to ward away the werewolves or something. I don't know what it is. But maybe that's why maybe that's why they're just scared, but it was just seemed like they killed it very easily. And it's like, wait, why didn't they go kill this thing and just letting it, be around killing people? You
When
know
I
what I mean?
first saw this the first time, and they lit up that werewolf, and then he's like half in and out of it, and he looks over, and all of a sudden he sees an older naked man. I was like, whoa, that was. I mean, not that the guy was naked. It was just like it's pretty obvious that the werewolf is a person and not a beast at that point.
Yep. And so he gets transferred to England, to London, I mean. London, sorry. And he ends up meeting this nurse who's Nurse Alex, who is, he finds very attractive, and she is. And so they kind of start up a romance or whatever. But as this happens, like this doctor's trying to figure out like what's going on, like your wound's already cleaned and blah, blah, blah. And he wanted to know what happened. And so he kind of takes off in his own investigation about David because he's curious about what's going on here. David keeps on having these crazy dream sequences, which I think is some of the coolest scenes in the movie, Mike, honestly. Yeah. Besides the werewolf stuff, these are like scene stealers, I feel like. I mean, one of them where he's like running through the woods naked. He grabs a deer and just like rips it like a leg off and just starts eating into it. Another one where he's laying in the hospital bed and Alex comes up and checks on him, and he's off in a distance looking at himself in a bed and Alex there, and all of a sudden it goes to him in the bed and he like turns into this like demon looking thing with like bluish white skin and like these big teeth, and that was cool. And then I think the best one is where he's at home with his family, his mom and his dad and his brother and his sister, and they're at home, and you're like, wait, what's going on here? And he's at the table doing homework or something, and there's a loud knocks at the door. And his dad's like, hold on. And he opens the door, and his dad just gets blasted by these machine guns, and he goes flying back. And these things are like beasts. I actually have a NECA figure of it. I don't know where it's at right now. But it's like these beasts, and they're dressed up like in military, like Nazi type uniforms.
Right.
That's how I describe it.
Yep.
And they're like different ones are different beasts.
Yeah, they're German. And I think the characters, aren't they German soldiers to start with, right?
What?
The ones that come in and kill them, they're German soldiers, right? That look like wolves.
Yeah, but not all of them are wolves. They're like, they're
like a demon, some kind of demon entity type
right,
thing.
Well, and they're in different stages of turning into wolves, I think. Right. I think that's what it is. And they like blow him away. They hold him at knife against his throat. They literally go over and just blow away his brother and sister while they're watching TV with these machine guns. They light the whole place on fire. And as David's watching this, they just slit his throat.
And that looked real too. I mean, that was good special effects I know that's probably an easy one to do, but it looked real. I mean, it slid open and blood started.
If you watch this for the first time, that's a shocking scene, I think.
Yeah, it's out of the blue.
Yeah, because you're like, wait, what is going on here? But this is all kind of building up anticipation for the full moon, the next full moon. And you have his buddy Jack is back. So like if you get killed by a werewolf and the werewolf is killed, or if you get killed by a werewolf, you are undead. You're basically there, but you can't be seen only by the person that's a werewolf or whatever. But you can't rest or whatever. And so, but what happened is that werewolf made David a werewolf. So Jack can't rest until David's dead because that's his bloodline from the other werewolf. So, he's encouraging David to kill himself. He's like, you need to kill yourself or you're going to be, hurting people, and I can't rest until you're dead anyway.
So in this movie, Jack comes back 3 times. The first time, I remember this clearly, and it still looks good 40 years later, 40-some years later. Jack's neck is tore up where that werewolf had ate on him, and flesh is dangling. There's big gaping wounds where he was chewing on him, and his claws were in his face.
Big
part of his
claw marks
face.
across his face.
Yeah, that scene from the first time I watched it probably freaked me out more than anything because it looks so realistic. Him being just ripped all to shreds, and you see little meat dangling and skin dangling and stuff when he moves.
Yep.
And man, that was good. But then he comes back a second time.
More decayed. Every
huh?
time he comes back, he's more and more
He's more decayed.
Yep.
And by the third time, he's almost just skin on top of a skeleton. But at that point, they bring in everybody. The werewolf eventually gets out. He turns, which we'll talk about that here in a second. But then he goes on a killing spree and kills 5 or 6 people in London.
People. Yep.
And then there's a scene here at the movie theater where there's a porn movie going on in the background. But yeah, they're in a movie theater in the middle of London. And all the ones he killed are in there with him as well. And they're wanting him to kill himself so they don't have to continue to walk to Earth in a la land and not either, I guess, be in heaven or hell, whatever they believed in it.
Right. So, yeah, I like that. I like that added lore to this. I do like that they did that added lore. At this point, David and Alex are hooking up. She is letting him stay at her home and all this stuff. The doctor is still trying to figure out. He went and visited the slaughtered lamb. He's trying to figure out what's going on here. And he does kind of figure out, like, dude, this is something supernatural. This is something not normal that we know about. And so he's trying to, like, race home to warn Alex that, like, something's going on with this guy. He does kill 6 people. He transforms. So I never understood. At first, I was like, wait a minute. Like, how did he get out of this apartment? But if you notice, right before he changes, he opens the main door to the outside, leaves it open. Then he goes into the apartment and leaves the door cracked about this much while he's turning. That's how they explain how he gets out of there, apparently.
Right.
But him turning is really great. I mean, he like rips his shirt. He's like, I'm burning up. And then like he just gets strips down naked. And the hair like just starts growing like gradually. His hands like expand up. And then like when his face comes out, it is awesome, Mike.
I mean, this is 1981. That's what's so great about this. I mean, it's 42 years later and it still holds up.
And Mike,
it's not computerized either.
Right. And then you don't get to see him right away. He attacks a couple, and you just see like from the side, he like jumps on him and kills them. He attacks 3 homeless men. You don't see him at all. They're just like, oh my God, what is that? And then he ends up killing a guy in a subway. And that part really freaked me out as a kid because all you see, this guy's running for his life. And all you see, he's like on an escalator going up. And all you see from like the top of the escalator, you see like this werewolf walk in. And all you see basically is the front legs and the head. And this thing is massive.
Yeah.
This thing's huge. And you're like, oh God. So he ends up killing that. He ends up waking up in a zoo or something with the animals. That's kind of funny.
He's with wolves in a zoo.
Right. And so he like is naked. So he's got to get back to the house. He's like, I feel great. I feel energized. Well, because he ate freaking a bunch of people the night before. Yeah. Oh, also they put in it that he wasn't hungry. He never was hungry. See, I don't think he could, like, normal food wasn't appealing to him. You know what I mean? Until he turned a werewolf and then ate people.
He's used to getting that blood in the meat.
Right. So there's another full moon. He tries to get arrested and stuff, and that doesn't work out. He does try to call his home, but his sister answers, and he tells her, I love you, blah, blah, blah. But he does end up turning again into this, Mike said, he goes into this theater because Jack's there. He ends up turning in there again. For some reason, some way he's turning, he's like, go away. And like some guy's just standing there like staring at him. That was weird.
Yeah.
But now, this is at the end of the movie, about 17 minutes left. You get your best look at this werewolf, and it is magnificent. It's amazing. I just want to show this real quick, Mike.
Yeah.
This is what you see right here.
Kessler Wolf.
This is the NECA figure. And I can't tell you how great this looks. So close to what it looked like in the movie, Mike. I mean, honestly, some of the coloring might be a little different. I think the one in the movie had more gray in it, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's incredible. If you
That
can
just
see
came
that
out in the
right.
last couple of years, so it's really popular. Probably one of the better NECA figures created.
Yeah, it's incredible. But yeah, they're in Piccadilly Square Circus.
Yep.
I don't know. They call it Circus too. I was just like, what the frick is it? And this werewolf is in there, and they lock they try to close this door. He busts through. This one like sergeant's like, hey, and like the werewolf literally lunges and bites this guy's head off like with one bite. And then the head goes flopping. He's walking through, and it's cool how it's like walking like this. And you only see it from here back because there's puppeteers on the back of it. So you're not seeing the back of the werewolf. But it's like a bunch of cars are crashing. People are getting run over. It's crazy. And they ended up cornering it, the cops and stuff. And they're loading up their like M16s or whatever they got back then. And she runs Alex there, and she's like, oh gosh, David. And she runs, and she's like, David, I love you. And like you see for a minute, they zoom in on the werewolf's face, and you see for a minute, it like almost recognizes her. Like, even though he's a beast, but then that just takes over, and he's like, rah! And then they light it up, kill it, and they walk up, and all of a sudden you just see David there, naked. And then then it goes. Then
And it just ends. My wife was like, when it just ended, that was the first time she'd seen it. When it just ends, she's like, wait a minute. There's so many things I got to ask. I got to find out. But it just ends.
I like that.
I liked it too. It's over.
Yeah, I do. Mike, do you have anything else to add to what we just kind of went over?
No, which one was your favorite kill? Because there was like 5 or 6 plus Jack.
The guy in the escalator, I think.
The guy in the escalator's yours.
Yeah, just because of that, I just remember that scene from the very top of the escalator, him walking out, and you're like, he's done. He's done for.
Yeah, that was a cool shot. I think mine still is Jack, just because of the whole feeling of it, and and him laying into him. You see him on top of him, chewing on him, and he's just blood everywhere. So, but that's a really cool scene that you said too. The camera view on that from the top looking down, was really cool.
Well, and you just see, like, this is the first time that you actually kind of realize the size of it. I mean, you saw it like on Jack, but it's not a great look at it because it's so early in the movie. But this part you see, like, from like mid chest up, and it's big. I mean, it's a big werewolf.
Now, one warning in case you've never seen it before: it is a long movie. It's an hour and 50-some minutes long.
Right. Also, yeah, it is. But I would say the acting is really good in this movie.
Yeah, it's an A+ on the acting. I mean, even with all the English actors in it, you don't know if it's good or bad anyway.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good.
In all seriousness, it is good acting.
Right. So, Mike, what is your rating for this movie? 1 out of 10.
I'm gonna go pretty high on this one, Josh, because I like the comedy in it too. Special effects were awesome, as we've already mentioned.
Yeah.
Only really issue I have is I mean, I didn't even have a problem with why they hadn't killed it before, is the brightness of the blood, which is very, very minute in the scheme of things. I do think it could have been shortened a little bit, probably a little bit long, but I'm gonna give it an 8, 8 out of 10.
Wow, that's pretty high for you, Mike.
That's pretty. I'm pretty strict on stuff like that, but I'll give it an 8.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 9 out of 10.
That's awesome, Josh. It's a good movie. I could see a 9 on it as well. I mean,
it's one of those movies I feel like you can watch it like once a year and not be bored with it at all. I mean, it's one of those movies that you can revisit and it's good every time.
Right.
Yeah, I feel that way. So, yeah, that's about it for us on that one, I think. That's it. So anything else, Mike, you want to tell about?
No, I think that's it, man. Just everyone that watches, if you got this far in here, you might as well go ahead and subscribe to our channel if you're not already, and hit us up on Facebook. We got a couple more people that joined last week.
Yeah.
Real Dead Horror Community.
Yep.
And we got a lot of stuff coming out leading up to Halloween, so definitely join us.
And our next movie review is going to be Scream 4. And we are actually going to have a guest on, a friend of ours, who's a really big Scream 4 fan. So look out for that. That's going to be a different show because we'll have another person on critiquing the movie and talk about the movie as well. So, yeah, we're looking forward to that.
Yep. All right, guys. Y'all have a good one.
Yep. See you now.
All right. Bye.